Hello friends. It has been a second since I've talked to you or you've seen my face. I am moving out of my home to Boston in 18 days. It's crazy! I've been working on a film called Over the Moon. It's my last film living in my childhood home, and it really just feels like this big culmination of everything I've been through and everything I've made. Over the Moon is about a girl who's spending the last night in her childhood bedroom when she finds a box of all her old children's books. She reads through them and relives all of her life experiences through the lens of these stories and encounters her younger self and must figure out how to move forward without leaving her younger self to experience it all alone. I started writing Over the Moon honestly probably like 2 years ago, which is insane because I was not even in the space of having to move on from this part of my life. It pretty much came into fruition one night when I found this box and all of my children's books were in it, and I just read through all of them, and it's like that, such a crazy feeling when you don't know you remember it until you see it. And I think within reading those books, I was seeing how these lessons that I was taught as a kid had affected the way that I moved through my life, and almost that they foreshadowed some life events in a strange way. So I wrote the film, and there was always something missing from it, but I didn't know what, so I just kind of let it sit. As leaving home started to grow nearer, I started to think a lot more about childhood and adolescence and where the line gets drawn between being a kid and a teenager and how those two different phases of life change as you move into adulthood. I've been using Over the Moon as a sort of experiment to try and figure that out, and something that I believe really strongly is that time is not linear. We can only experience it in a linear way because of like our brains and our bodies, but I think it's all happening at once, and I think our past and future self are so easily accessible that we can do things for them and they're doing things for us all the time without even realizing. I feel like the film really represents that, and something I'm really proud of, and it's been fun to experiment with. There's a fat fly. Be gone. So I knew that I wanted to make this film this summer before going into college, but it was still had something missing, but I just didn't know what. So in April I went on a little East Coast trip with my mom, and we looked at some schools over there. It was a really special trip. It was very peaceful, and I made little playlists of all the songs that I listened to in each day, and East Coast road trips were beautiful, and I love road trips, and I love talking to people in cars. My mom and I were staying in this one Airbnb in a place in New York called Hudson. Not the city, it's like super tiny and like villagey. The day before we left, I looked on the bookshelf and I saw a bunch of children's books, and it was Curious George, which I love and which was my first movie, Winnie the Pooh, which I also love, but this one was in French, and I was trying to learn French at the time, but I don't speak French, and the book Guess How Much I Love You, which is one that I had written into the screenplay already. And that's one that my mom used to read to me when I was little too. I had called her in and I showed it to her, and we sat down and she read me the book and I just listened, and it was one of those moments where I felt like I was kind of watching it unfold, like from a distance. I knew then that for this movie I wanted there to be a moment of someone reading someone else a book, and you'll see what that is when it comes out in 18 days. I actually finished writing the screenplay on the plane ride back to Los Angeles from Boston. I just love planes, and I always cry on planes, but when I was writing it, when I finished it, I got goosebumps and I started crying, and it was at that moment that I knew it was done, and I knew that I wouldn't have been able to figure it out before. I turned 18 on July 11th, and I never throw parties. I don't like hosting or being the center of attention or knowing everybody in one place or being in groups. But I had party scenes to shoot for the film, and so I just combined it into a little birthday thing, which was like super out of my comfort zone, but I had everyone dressed up as characters from my films, and I just directed this movie, and I'm just really excited for people to see it. In the film, you'll witness childhood and middle school awkwardness and falling in love and heartbreak and parties and 10 children's books that were very universally appreciated, and I think a lot of people know. Just moments of childhood and adolescence through the lens of these books, and you'll get to hear these books and see these books and like see them in new ways, hopefully. For my birthday, my mom got me this, and it's new. And this is the one she read to me when I was a baby, and it's Albert's, but I feel so lucky to have still had all of my books because all of the ones I read as a kid are in the movie. And I'm getting a tattoo in 9 days of a cow jumping over the moon because now I'm 18 and I can do whatever I want. I can go skydiving, and I'm going skydiving in 12 days. I'm doing a little thing where it's like a countdown for when Over the Moon will come out, and each day will be a film that I've made from middle school until now. You'll watch the film and read a little something I wrote about it, and there's a little like to-do thing for each day that has to do with the film, like a little goal, or like not assignment, it is not school, and then a bullet point list of things to look out for, whether that's just fun little Easter eggs or little things I want to add, or things that appear in Over the Moon. So hopefully sort of watching these films and like getting little ideas of things that'll show up in this new movie will be exciting. I think it's little things like this that help me feel okay with moving on from things. So if you want to participate in this little countdown thing, follow me on Instagram. It's Ella B Fields. B as in bzz. I'll put it in a little like highlight thing on my Instagram so you can like go back and watch if you miss any days. Thank you to anyone who has watched my films like just throughout life. You know, I think making films has been the most meaningful thing that I've ever experienced, and I feel so grateful to have been able to share them on YouTube with people who like them and watch them and who resonate with them. And it's just like I've just been reflecting a lot, and I'm just so grateful. Stay tuned for Over the Moon, and I hope you have a beautiful day, and good night.